So I thought we could look at a famous game from Paul Morphy, who is one of the top chess player, really the number one chess player in the world in the mid 1800s. This is a very famous game of his. And the story is he played at the Opera against the Duke and a Count. So playing white here, he's already got a really strong attack going. You can see that he's got his bishops pinning down the knights, and he castled over here, and he has his rook in a nice spot and his queen as well. So the question is, how should white continue his attack right now?
Is he up or?
You know, he's down a little bit. Let's see, because he sacrificed a knight earlier, but he sacrificed it for 2 pawns, so he's down just a little bit. Like black's maybe up by 1.
I mean, I'm thinking if he messes with the black defense, like by trading off some pieces, then he could have some good openings for like his queen to get in there and like check him.
Okay. Any specific moves you're thinking of?
I mean, like if he would trade the his light square bishop for that knight, and then
black would take back which way? With the rook, right?
Yeah. And then he would have check.
The queen would come down here, check. Okay. Now, what if black then just moved his rook back?
Then he would take it.
Well, he has his rook here also.
Let's look at this.
I mean, the white rook is pointed at, you know.
You're saying here, and now to check?
Yeah.
And now to take it?
Maybe.
No, because the queen will just take it back.
Just trade.
This looks like it's going to be a bunch of trades, and it doesn't look like white is really like coming out that far ahead. It looks like just a bunch of even trades.
Right.
What I would try to do is try to make him move the knight that's guarding his queen somehow.
Okay. I hear that. Right? This knight is pinned. If we could get that to move.
I mean, right now the weakest spot looks like the F7 pawn.
Oh, interesting.
Because I mean, everything else is basically really well connected. That only has like the queen on it, and the king also.
The king's also.
But I'm saying almost every other spot has got pawns, a rook, a pawn. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on.
I hear. I'll give
that
you
looks like the weakest pawn out of all of them.
When we're attacking, and we guys have spoken about this, I know we talk a lot about in the beginning of a game, you want to bring out all your pieces and get your pieces working together. Really, to have an effective attack, you want to use as many pieces as possible. So are there any white pieces right now that aren't participating in white's attack?
Second
rook.
Yeah.
The second rook, right? So the big question here is, how is white going to bring this other rook to participate?
He could stack the rooks. He can move up the D1.
How so?
You move the D1 up. You can move it up to D2 or maybe even farther.
Okay.
Probably D2 so keep his queen open.
Right. So that's definitely the right idea is how to get that rook involved on the D file, because that's the most important file to be on. It's not like we're going to move our rook here right now because it's just not really relevant. If we go slow, though, like this is probably a good move. But if we go slow, we're giving black a little bit of time to try to unravel. Because remember, black, the reason why in black's such bad shape is he wasn't focused on developing his pieces earlier. Look at his bishop. It's blocked in. He hasn't castled yet. So black can start to try to maybe chase this bishop away and get a little bit of like unraveling going on.
So what you think he should use the D1 rook and just take the knight right now?
Yes.
Move in.
Yes. And the key is the follow-up, though. How can white follow this up?
He follows up with taking with the bishop, and then he
Taking with the bishop?
whatever he has to like take back with the bishop. Yeah.
Does he? He takes
Oh
with
no,
the-
he could.
He doesn't
He
have
can.
to.
No, he can move in his knight. I mean, he can move in his rook because he can't move
Aha,
it. Yeah.
right. So white, by sacrificing, let's just back up a minute to look at what white did. This is what he did in the game, by the way. By white sacrificing his rook for this knight, which is a little bit of a sacrifice because we know a rook is generally worth 5, and a knight is worth 3. He's able to forcibly create time where black doesn't have any breathing room, and white's right away able to bring in the second rook. And now black is completely overpowered here because it's like the same position as before, but white just switched out attackers. He switched out rooks for the attack, and black doesn't have any more defenders.
So,
Yeah.
so now if he takes the other knight, oh well, actually no, he could take it with the pawn.
No, he doesn't want to take the knight. He wants to make him move the knight so he can take the queen.
Right. I mean, right now white has too much pressure on this square. So black
There's nothing he
here,
can do.
black wanted to try to loosen things up. He wanted to hopefully get this bishop out of entry. So black played this move, moving up his queen, trying to get out of this pin. The question is, how did white follow up here?
Trade queens.
Trade queens. We don't usually think to trade when we're on the attack.
But then you gain a rook.
Not a full rook, because remember, you already sacrificed a rook for a knight, and you're giving up a bishop for a rook, so it's going to end up kind of the same.
Oh.
Those are cool sunglasses.
Yeah. No, I've been having some like eye strain recently, so I'm looking at a screen.
Oh, too much of that. Too much zoom.
Yeah.
Souls of Warriors have felt by the masses.
Yoni, any thoughts here?
They fell by the masses.
What if he put his queen on a4?
On a4?
Yeah.
I like that move. I like the fact that you're putting more pressure on there. White
Then he
actually
could-
found something even
Josh,
more.
could I tell you what I think he did?
Yes, Moshe.
He trades he trades bishop and knight, and then he moves in with the bishop on the rook, because then he'll get his queen from it.
Let's see. Are you saying this move first?
No. The first move is bishop takes the knight.
Okay.
And
The
then-
truth is, I'll be perfectly honest, that this position is so winning already that it could be that this move would also be enough for a win. It happens to be, though, I mean, for example, in this position here, and then you're saying what?
And then he'll put him in check with the bishop to make him
Here?
and then he'll take the queen.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be winning for white. It's going to be a little bit more, though, like black still has bishop and rook, so it's going to be not completely over yet. Let's look at what white was able to come up with, because in this position right here, I'm going to give you guys the first move here, and it's the final combination. Can you guys find out how white finished the game right away?
No.
Yeah, he puts his queen onto b8.
Yes, Yoni?
He puts his queen onto b8, sacrificing it, and then after that he puts his rook on.
Ah,
Yeah.
nice. It's a queen sacrifice because essentially this knight is guarding the rook from coming down and giving a checkmate on d8. So white actually, this is what happened in the game. Imagine if you were actually playing this game as black and that this happened to you. White moved down his queen, and it's basically, this is completely forced. There's no.
He's not allowed to do anything else.
And then that was checkmate.
Wow.
And white literally, I mean, the whole theme of this game, from even before we started watching you know, if you were to go back earlier in the game, all the way through up, we started watching as all the white pieces participating. And you can see here that white literally only has two pieces left besides his pawns. A bishop and a rook, and both of them are participating, and that's really all it took to create a checkmate.